Big Three, Fantasy Alarm TV. I'm your host, Ray Flowers. Before I get started, don't forget to visit fantasyalarm.com/winning to get your copy of the 2015 Fantasy Alarm Football Draft Guide. First number of the day is 5.0, as in the yards per carry mark for his career of C.J. Spiller. He's very good when used properly. The Bills the last couple years haven't really known how to do that. Been a really bad situation for him there. He moves on to the Saints. Sean Payton in that offense, they know how to utilize players properly. We've seen Pierre Thomas have success as a pass-catching back. We've obviously seen Darren Sproles have success in that role as well. C.J. Spiller's never had more than 45 catches in a season, but he will get to that number this season. He should blow by that. Chances of him getting 70-plus, have to think it's a pretty good odd if he can stay healthy. And that's the rub with Spiller. 24 games played the last 2 seasons. He always seems to be hurt. The Saints will get him the ball in space. They will utilize his talents properly. If he can stay healthy, he has every indication of being a PPR monster. Possibly an RB1. Certainly an RB2. Second number of the day is 36, as in the number of yards short of 1,000 last year for Spiller's running mate, Mark Ingram. Now, Mark Ingram had a very good season in total. Almost 1,000 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns on the ground. He kind of became the player that the Saints had always hoped he would be. They're very confident with him in the early downs, and again, Spiller in the later downs. Now, the interesting thing with Ingram is that obviously his upside is capped a little bit by the presence of Spiller, but we also have this. Over his last 8 games last year, 3 rushing touchdowns and 3.9 yards a carry for Mark Ingram. I think the perception is he was much better in the second half of the season. Statistically speaking, he wasn't. Probably a sample size thing, an 1,000-yard effort for Ingram this year with 10 touchdowns on the ground, a possibility as the Saints decided in the offseason to pass the ball a little less, run the ball a little bit more in 2015. Final number of the day is 5.1. What does that stand for? That is the yards per carry mark for Jonathan Stewart last season. A great mark, over his last 8 games when he was utilized more heavily for the Panthers after all the injuries and they finally turned to him. In the month of December, his yards per carry mark was 5.1 again, with an average of 100.3 yards per game on the ground. Jonathan Stewart has always been one of the more talented running backs in football. He has all the makings of being an RB1. He can move a pile. He's aggressive. He's got speed. The only problem, his health is terrible. You thought C.J. Spiller was bad. It's even worse for Stewart. Barely on the field 50% of the time the last 3 seasons. Can he stay healthy? Can he handle the workload that the Panthers are going to look to give him? D'Angelo Williams is no longer there. He's now with the Steelers. Stewart is someone you draft as an RB2, but if you do that, you have to make sure you have a good RB3 to cover, which looks like an impossible situation to avoid if you own Jonathan Stewart. Ray Flowers, Big Three, Fantasy Alarm TV. Don't forget to visit us again, fantasyalarm.com/win.